And it's not just in your head, it can be a physical response to loss and trauma, and that's definitely how my body decided to respond. So I guess I'll start back when I was leaving the hospital after I had Onyx. I had just gotten home around 5-6 p.m. I believe, and I started to feel this really weird feeling in my arms. And I didn't really know what it was, but I knew that it was hurting. And it wasn't necessarily painful, it was more like an ache, I guess, but it was in where my elbows are and the creases of my arms, and it just felt like something was missing from there. And I wasn't processing what was going on really, but I knew I felt an urge to hold something. So I decided to go into Onyx's bereavement box, and there's this little stuffed lamb in there that the hospital gave us, and I decided to hold it. And it brought me a lot of comfort. It didn't take away the pain necessarily, but being able to physically hold something made my arms feel less empty. And I ended up holding that lamb for almost 3 months actually. It was around that time that I started doing some research, and I found out that there's actually a name for this. It's called empty arm syndrome, or sometimes it's referred to as aching arm syndrome. But basically it's this feeling that you get after your baby passes away, where your arms literally ache for them. And it's not just in your head, it can be a physical response to loss and trauma, and that's definitely how my body decided to respond. After doing some research, I realized that so many people go through this, and I had no idea why no one told me about it, because it's so common, and there were no pamphlets in my little bereavement box about it. No nurses told me anything. I didn't know anything about it, and I feel like had I at least been a little bit prepared for it, it wouldn't have been so, not traumatizing, but like such a dramatic feeling for me. All I knew is that if I grabbed this little stuffed lamb every single night, I felt a little bit better. So, like I said, that's what I did. And around Onyx's 3-month mark, I decided that I didn't want to just hold the lamb anymore. I felt like I needed something a little bit bigger and a little bit more permanent. At the time, we still had Onyx's ashes in this little makeshift vase that we got at a craft store. I think it was like Michael's or something. And obviously, it wasn't like planned out to get that for his ashes. You don't ever expect that your baby is going to die, so we didn't have time or even the energy, honestly, to pick out an urn for him. Even when I was looking online for days and days and days, like nothing seemed right, and so we just decided to get this little makeshift urn from a vase that we found at a craft store, and that's what was holding Onyx's ashes for 3 months. But I decided I wanted something more permanent for him, and so we decided to put his ashes in a bear. And when I went online to look for some different companies that are specific for baby loss families, there's a few, and Molly Bears is probably the most popular, but I realized that they have a very long waiting list, which makes me really sad because it means a lot of people are looking for this, but also makes me really happy that there's an organization that can do this for them. But like I said, they had a very long waiting list. It was around 6 months, I believe, and I just didn't feel like I could wait that long. I already waited 3 months with this little lamb, and it was sufficient for me at the time. But I started feeling a really strong urge to put his ashes in something more permanent. Whenever our house would get cold, because it's winter here now, the vase would get really cold, and it's just, I don't know, it made me feel really weird thinking that his ashes are in this really cold space, I guess. So I decided I would get a bear, and after Molly Bears didn't really fit what I was looking for, I looked into Build-A-Bear, and I had never heard of anyone putting their baby's ashes or anyone's ashes really into a Build-A-Bear, but there was some Reddit thread or something that I found, and I guess it's pretty common. So I decided to go to Build-A-Bear, and when they didn't have the bear that I wanted, I ordered it online. I decided to pick a black bear because we named Onyx after the black onyx stone, and black is my favorite color, plus it's not like as common as the brown bears or the white bears, so I just thought it'd be really cute. So I ordered it online. It came about a week later, and that's when my mom and I decided to go into Build-A-Bear and do the whole thing that you do there. It might only be in the US, I'm not sure, but it's basically this store. It's called Build-A-Bear Workshop, and you can pick out a stuffed animal and they stuff it right in front of you, and you can put their name on a birth certificate, and it's just this really cute idea. but it was really nice to actually build my own bear for Onyx. Basically what you do is you pick out your stuffed animal, and then you go and you pick out a heart, and then they have these options for different scents you can pick. I believe there was like fall scent. I think they do seasonal ones, but I decided to pick lavender because lavender is very similar to a new baby smell, so I decided to get that. And then we had to go through the whole process. So you give your stuffed animal to the person who's working, and then you give them your heart, and you do this little like fun stuff with the heart. I think I rubbed it on my cheek and my hand, and then they had me rub the heart on my heart to get it to start beating. So that was a little bit traumatic, but after that it was really awesome to actually see the bear being stuffed and sewn all the way up. His ashes were still in the little baggie thing that they give you after your baby is cremated, but we put the ashes that were in the bag also into it's a little velvet pouch that I had, and they asked me where I wanted to put the ashes in the bear, like if I wanted it in the head or the arm or whatever. And I decided to just put it in the front, in the chest. It's really awesome because whenever I grab the bear, I can feel where the ashes are. And I don't know if this will be the like forever place for Onyx's ashes, but for now, it just feels right. It's nice that he's in this little warm, cozy bear, and that we have something to kind of represent him that we can use in photos and things like that, because using a photo of him is awesome, and we'll probably continue to do that. But it's also nice to have a physical reminder of him. And his remains are actually in the bear. So when we incorporate his bear into things like the Santa photo, it's not just a idea of representing him, it's a physical representation of Onyx. And I don't know, it's really nice to have that. So for now, this is the place where we have Onyx's ashes, and it's brought me a lot of comfort to hold it. I definitely sleep with it every single night. I haven't had the empty arms feeling as often as I did in the very beginning, but I definitely still get it pretty much every single night, and it's going on 4 months now. Eventually it'll probably not be as common for me to feel that. All I know is that it brings me a lot of comfort to have something to hold that has Onyx's ashes in it. And I know the bear isn't Onyx, and I got a lot of questions about that after I got him the bear, about like, is this healthy for you to have this bear? And I'm like, it's still I know he's not the bear, you know. It's just nice to have something that reminds me of him and that is like a physical representation of Onyx, because his ashes are in there. So it's not something that I think I will always need to hold, but it's definitely something that feels really good right now and that feels right for me. And like I said, I sleep with it pretty much every single night. And the only weird thing that I've had recently is that I've felt the need to bring the bear with me whenever I leave the house. And I don't think it's an irrational feeling about the bear, because like if someone's home, like if Will is home, I have no problem leaving the bear here if I'm leaving. But if no one's home, I feel like I need to bring it with me, because there's other people in our building. We live in like a apartment style place, and I'm really worried about there being a fire. And it's not irrational, like I said, because I've actually had a house fire. My family had one when I was younger, and I've always had a fear about fires ever since then. So I can't even imagine what I would feel if something happened to the bear. So I've been feeling a need to just bring it with me everywhere I go if no one else is home. And I don't like carry it around with me necessarily. It's like in my purse, and my purse is really big, so you can't even tell it's in there. But it just feels comforting to have it with me, knowing that it's safe. It's not so much of a leaving my baby at home alone type of thing. It's just the worry of what if something happens to the bear. So I've been bringing it with me pretty much everywhere since we got his ashes put in it. And I didn't feel that way when I had his ashes in the vase. And I think that's because I was home a lot more then. I like never left the house at that time, and so I never had to leave his ashes anywhere. So now that he's in the bear, I definitely feel it a lot more because I'm leaving the house a lot more often, and I just don't want to leave the bear at home in fear that something could happen to it. So I've been thinking a lot about that. And if you have your baby's ashes in a bear, definitely let me know if that's something that you felt before, if you're feeling that now. Because if I think about it, it seems like it would be pretty common. And I know it's not an irrational thing for me because, like I said, I've had a house fire and that's my primary concern. But I also think if you're feeling it for other reasons, that doesn't necessarily mean it's rational either. I mean, a lot of feelings come with grief, and if you feel like you need to bring your baby's bear around with you, bring your baby's bear around with you. There's nothing wrong with that. So, I don't know if I will always bring it with me. I'm hoping eventually I'll feel a little bit more safe not leaving it at home, but I have a really big fear about the fire thing, and all of his things that we have are like right next to the front door, so if anything ever happened, I feel like I could just grab those things really quickly. So it's definitely all rooted in the idea that we could have a fire. But I did get it weighted, and it wasn't like a fully intentional thing to get it weighted because the bear is a lot taller than Onyx was. It's about 16 inches. But I decided to get it weighted because the bear is about 7 ounces when it's stuffed, and then when with his little heart and the ashes and things like that, it comes up to around 12 ounces, and that's how much Onyx weighed when he was born. So it's really nice to have that specific weight included into the bear. But yeah, I guess that's it for this video. If anyone has any questions, I will leave some specifics about the bear and where you could find a similar one and some of the other organizations down in the description. Oh, I should probably show you all the bear. That's what I completely forgot to do. Let me go grab it. If you can tell, this one's a lot better to hold than this tiny little lamb. One time I lost this lamb for like 2 seconds when I woke up in the morning. I think it was like in the side of the bed, and I started to freak out. I was like, oh my gosh, I lost this lamb. I'm a horrible mother. Like it was very dramatic. So I'm glad I have this because this is a lot harder to lose. I just have it in this little onesie for now, and sometimes I wonder if that's odd to do. My mom was like, if you start changing its diaper, I'm not gonna start changing its diaper. I know it's not Onyx. We just have it in this little onesie that I got when I was pregnant with Onyx because the clothes from Build-A-Bear are very rough and they're kind of not really comfortable to hold, and so I use those more for like incorporating the bear into pictures, not so much on a daily basis. And so I just been having it in this little onesie. It's super comfortable, and it's just, I don't know, it feels a lot better to hold it wearing like something soft and cotton rather than something stiff. So yeah, that's the bear. And I don't think you can see, or maybe you can. Okay, you can't really see, but right here in between my fingers, about like that tall, is where his ashes are. And like I said, you can feel it whenever you grab the bear, and so it's just kind of comforting in that way. And the lavender scent I got put right here. I kind of wish I would have put it more on like the head, but it still smells really, really good. And the person said that theirs lasted like 2 years, and so that's pretty awesome. The only thing I'm worried about is because it doesn't have a zipper in the back, it's just like sewn up, is if I travel with it, if they'll have to take the bear apart to see what's inside of it. And that's really worrisome because it's just, I don't know, it just feels kind of dramatic to like unsew a bear in the middle of security and like pull out the ashes, you know. I'll have to figure out what to do with that. Maybe I'll just have to bring his cremation certificate with. I don't really know, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So that's it for this video. I hope to see you in my next one.